Moments ago, we learned the FBI obtained a surveillance video of the deadly shooting from the Pulse nightclub. And FBI Director James Comey has arrived at the scene of the massacre. Also new tonight, according to reports, the shooter signed his house over to his Afghan-born brother-in-law for $10. And now we know the gun store owner in Florida warned the FBI weeks before the deadly rampage. So who knew what and when, and could this attack have been prevented? Joining me now, Gina Loudon, Mustafa, Tameez, and Congressman Ron DeSantis. Congressman, you know, as the information continues to come in, coupled with what you already know, the trips to Saudi Arabia, the interviews by the FBI being on list and dropped from list, this is amounting to a colossal failure on every front. And how can Americans feel safe this weekend?
Well, I'm afraid that's right, Charles. And not only that, the mosque that he attended was the same mosque that Abu Salah, the first American suicide bomber in Syria, attended. So everywhere you look with this guy, there was indications of radicalization. And, of course, the people he worked with at that security firm were very spooked by his conduct, and yet the FBI didn't connect the dots. And so I think it's really troubling. Initially, the FBI thought that they had run everything to ground, but I think we're seeing that that's just not the case.
Mustafa, disturbing behavior goes all the way back to grade school with this guy. Some classmates in high school saying he celebrated the toppling of the Twin Towers in 9/11, and of course those complaints from coworkers for a long period of time. And yet many are saying the FBI dropped the investigation because he claimed there was a Muslim bias against him. Is this the situation when even a mountain of evidence points to a serious risk, it can all be wiped away by allegations of racism?
Well, I don't know. We're going to see a lot more coming out. But the CIA director testified in Congress saying that there was no linkage between this guy and ISIL, but his father's fairly politically active. He's got an internet television show that talks a lot about Afghanistan. So more information is coming out, and we're going to learn a lot more in the coming days and weeks.
Well, I think, Gina, what we have learned already, to me, listen, it seems enough to condemn someone, at least keep them on a watch list, and certainly they should have never had the right to buy a gun or work in any sort of security capacity, particularly potentially with military or establishments or U.S. embassies.
Yeah, there are just so many factors here, so many failures here on the part of those who were supposed to be keeping America safe. And I hate to say it, but when you look at the big holes in all of it, the gaps that occurred, Charles, you really have to look at this administration and where its failures have been to really attack the problem, because this is the reality. We have two choices. We will either take this on as a war, Charles, and fight it now, or we will leave it for our children to inherit, where they'll be fighting it much more involuntarily than we have the ability to do right now.